Browns training camp underway, and we are joined by a great friend of the program and somebody who just got a wonderful new deal and well-deserved. Browns kicker Dustin Hopkins. First of all, congratulations, man.
Thank you. I'm pumped to be here. I'm excited to work with the people as well.
Well, thank you.
I don't care what people say outside the building about y'all. Y'all are good folks, and I'm really happy to be. Something I just told y'all a second ago is, I'm really excited with the people I work with. The building, the organization is arguably the best I've ever been a part of. And so the people make the place. In addition to that,
put it on a shirt.
Yeah, there you go. But
the
people outside the building too, just the people of Cleveland that I've interacted with, they've been awesome. So I'm really fortunate to be back.
We love our kickers in Cleveland. I'm going to go down the list.
Oh, no, don't
Lou
go too long.
Groza.
No, oh yeah,
Lou Don Cockcroft.
Yep.
Huh? Matt Barr.
Man.
Matt Stover when he was with us before we moved. All right. Phil Dawson.
How long was he here before the Ravens?
Well, he moved with the Browns to Baltimore, and he was here a good chunk. All of Bill Belichick's time with the Browns, he was here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And now you.
Yeah. Hey.
That's the big league. We love our kickers.
Let's wait a little bit to put me on the list. But I'm honored that you would say that.
Well,
I'm honored.
Yeah, I put you in that list. I mean, what a year you had last year.
Thank you. Yes, that's been awesome. But going back real quick to that list.
Yeah.
Lou Groza's son, Judd. I got to know him. He's a part of the Groza Award college football for kickers.
Right.
So I got to know him down in Florida for the Home Depot College Football Awards.
Yeah.
And so we've stayed in contact with him and my folks and all of us. And he gave me a card and also a hat signed by Lou. And I've got him in my study
that's awesome.
at my house. It's pretty great.
One of the nicest people in the world.
Oh, they're great.
Lou Groza and the family, the whole family.
Yep.
Unbelievable.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now you talk about full circle. Now you go to work on Lou Groza Boulevard,
right?
76 Lou Groza Boulevard every day. And then you let us in on a little secret. It's also full circle for you at the Greenbrier. You were not here last year.
Right.
But you were here earlier in your career with the Saints. What's it like being back?
Not much has changed. The Greenbrier.
That's how they like it here.
Exactly.
That's exactly what they want.
I said, I don't know. I guess maybe it probably hadn't changed from 100 years ago.
Yeah.
It's just part of the character and part of the allure of the place. But no, it's very similar. It's funny talking to my wife before I came out. I was like, man, how long ago was that? 9 years, But
wow.
it's cool. Yeah.
Your family also. This was a big off season for you in terms of contract, but your family as well. How's everybody doing?
Yeah.
And what's it been like?
It's been great, busy but good busy, right?
Of course.
Like
yes.
we had a little one, and so with his body type right now as a baby, he might be taken after Lou. He might be O-line / kicker.
Okay.
He's pretty
boy.
thick and chunky, So we'll see how that. We got a lot of time.
Sure.
We'll see how that pans out. But
in the Bermuda Triangle of kicking at Browns Stadium.
Yes, sir.
Okay. How did you handle that? How did you handle it from September through the fall and then big kicks? November, December.
Sure. I don't know. No. I'm still figuring that. No. Well, I just from a big picture perspective, for me, my faith is a huge part of it. So, I just put my faith in the Lord. I'm like, Romans 8:28 says he works for the good of those who love him and are called according to his purpose. Mm-hmm. And I know that miss, he's working to my good, and so I can rest and not be kind of overwhelmed by the moment, knowing that regardless of what happens, I'm taken care of.
Yeah.
And so that's big picture. And then small picture, I don't think about the implications of the kick. I'm just saying whatever mental cue I need to hopefully be successful.
Right.
So maybe that's patience contact. And that patience is telling me something to do with my body as I approach the ball. And contact's just I know that sounds very simple, but sometimes you swing through a zone as opposed to really contacting the football.
Yeah.
So when you're thinking about that, I'm not smart enough to think about more than two things at the same time. So once I'm thinking about that, I'm not thinking about in college. There's a couple times where you think about the negative, and then you have to shift back to try to reframe your mind. And then I've also had times in college where it was super positive, cocky, confident that I'm about to drain this, and neither one of those really worked. Either way.
Yeah.
And then when I found the kind of thinking about whatever you have to do in that moment for your physical keys,
right.
That makes a huge difference.
Well, it certainly did last year. 8 for 8 from 50-plus yards, which is incredible. But you talked about not thinking about the implications. You're new to the Browns last season.
Well, I don't want you to add too many implications of the past.
I'm going to give you one.
I'm
this
gonna
is
cut
done.
you off.
You already came through. So
No,
it's fine. This is going to be a story of great triumph.
Oh, okay.
You've already done.
It's a good ending here.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
great
good,
ending.
good.
The Pittsburgh Steelers game, come off of the game winner against the Ravens. We come home. You get the news of Deshaun Watson that week.
Mm-hmm.
Jim Donovan, the voice of the Browns, makes his return, smashes the guitar in one of the most emotional moments.
The stadium was so hyped, man. It was cool. It was really cool to watch.
Unbelievable. One of the greatest days of my life.
Really?
Yeah, it really was.
It was amazing.
And you played a role in that because you made a game.
Yeah, you put the ending on it. Yeah.
Glad I could help.
I'm sure that didn't make it. You probably just had your cues in there, but just know you had that one had a lot of weight on it.
That was the
and
one
you
game
delivered.
I was thinking about the implications. That was for you. That was the only one.
Yes,
You know?
and you did it. So think about Jim Donovan
That's
every
right.
time.
That's
It worked.
right. Yeah.
It worked very well. Was that kind of a cool moment? You think about coming to the Browns. You think about the stories of the rivalries, right? And you hit a game winner walk-off against the Ravens. You hit a game winner against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Those are massive games, division games. Coaches always said they count double.
Right.
And to do that, but knowing also what it meant to the fan base, what it meant to him, what it meant to everybody who's in Browns Nation. Are those kind of special moments when you're able to look back and reflect on them?
Yeah, in the season, it's funny. You don't get a huge chance to look back and really live in those moments.
No,
well,
right.
You get a little bit, but
you get a second of pure joy when it goes through the uprights.
Right. But as soon as that happens, it's almost like, well, on to the next one. Like that was last week, you know. And it is fun to look back and see that and be a part of those moments, especially, our division historically is just like
brutal.
It's just loaded.
You
know, it's like
brutal.
Big bruising teams that it's like when you think of football, I think our division is one of those like.
And
that's football.
That was a big bruising game.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
Really. I mean,
that
was
slugfest.
tough. Yeah, slugfest.
Yeah.
All right,
not for me, but I hear. So
the new kickoff rule.
Yes, sir.
How difficult will it be to drop that ball into that zone that you're going to have to do it?
Right.
As far as that new rule.
Well, it's going to be interesting. I think all the teams across the league are kind of what are they? It's a copycat league, right?
Of course.
Right.
So, and I think with this instance and the rule change, there's going to be a lot of teams just kind of scouting what everybody else is doing. So it'll be different, but at the same time, like it's still football, and the kick is, it's the same as them telling me like, hey, we're going to try to keep it in and return it like we did before.
Right,
so,
right.
It'll be interesting to see how we mix it up, but at the same time, I'm just gonna, I'll try to do what I'm told the best I can. Doesn't always work out that way, but yeah, we'll see. I'll try to drop it wherever coach tells me.
Is this something that kickers around the league, I imagine it's a pretty tight-knit fraternity, have you guys kind of talked about it? Because the one stat, and I know Justin Tucker threw it out there, and I'm sure you've seen it, is in the XFL, is about 20% of the time the kicker was involved in the tackle. Now, fortunately, you're a big, strong lad. You know what I mean? A strapping lad. But is that something that you've thought about and something that, doing a little maybe extra tackling on the dummies?
Well, it's a thought, but at the same time, I haven't put too much thought into it. I try not to, like I said,
keep it simple.
I'm not as smart as I'd like to be, so I try to keep everything pretty simple. It's like I'll cross that bridge when I get there.
There's a genius in that.
Yeah. Then I'm fooling you. No. I think you're right. I think keeping it simple is a good way to be. But we'll see. I don't know. XFL stats were one thing. So, and as you look, it does seem like the field is more spread out because there's just less time to close.
Yeah.
And so we'll see how that. Honestly, I don't know. I wish I knew.
Yeah.
I don't know how it's all going to pan out.
We'll see.
Across the entire league.
Yeah.
Cade York is back here.
Yes, sir.
How has that gone with him? And your affiliation with him? He came in here. He was the guy.
Right.
Drafted here. Unbelievable. Opening game. Won the game with a 58-yarder in Carolina. But he had a little rough hiccup.
Sure.
And what do you notice with him?
Cade's a great guy. He's awesome. He's been great to work with. We just got to work out in. I don't know, 20 minutes ago or whatever it was. He's super talented. He's been great to be around, and I think he's got a lot ahead of him as far as his career.
Good.
So, I think, I went through moments of like you perform not as good as you wish, and then you have performances that are awesome, and I think through all that, it really changes you and molds you and shapes how you view outcomes. I think part of that too is. I remember the first time that second time I got released. You have the realization that it's like, you know what? Hear me out. The second time, I thought I did everything I could to make the team.
Right.
Yeah.
And I just didn't. They went another direction.
Yeah.
And once that happened, you kind of have the realization, like, you know what? There's only so much that's in my control.
Yep.
I do the best I can, and whatever happens, it'll be. So I think from talking to Kade, I don't want to put words in his mouth at all, but when you go through moments like that, it helps shape the way you view, I don't know, putting the NFL maybe on a pedestal. And now this is speaking for me. I'm not speaking for Kade. Like, at that point in time, the NFL's it's up here, and you almost feel like you don't deserve to be a part of it.
Right.
And then as soon as you come to the realization, like, hey, I'm meant to be here, and B, there's only so much I can control. It kind of, I don't know, it's easier to settle in. And I think sometimes with some of those negative, if you want to call them negative, career paths, that there's a lot of learning in those moments.
When you think about quarterbacks in this league, right? When you bring in a rookie, sometimes now if you're the number one pick, they're going to turn it over to you early, but they always like to have that veteran in the room with you, somebody that can kind of be a mentor to you. You know, when Kade was drafted, there was no competition. There was no veteran.
Was the guy.
He was the guy right away.
Right.
When you have been able to go around the league as you have, and at times various places, and one things you're excited about is the stability here, to be doing your best at this stage of your career now has to be somewhat comforting to him. And you can look around the league, guys. Carlson, he didn't start with the Raiders and has ended up having a very nice career.
Absolutely.
How is that something that maybe could be more useful? Because you talked about the psychological aspect of saying, putting all the pressure on yourself. You're in the NFL. It's on this pedestal, right? To have somebody be like, look, it's not an A to B. It could be A to B to C to D to E to F, but you're going to get there. You have the talent. You belong here. But to actually have a living, breathing success story with him, I feel like that's got to be helpful. And were you around anybody like that? Did you have any guys like that when you were in your career?
I was very fortunate to be around guys that were kind to me. It didn't mean we're like best friends, but they were very open with. I'd ask them questions, and they would answer them, and I always respected that. And I think I try to be an open book because as I look in the mirror, I can always live with being the best person I could be.
Sure.
Even if that doesn't pan out in football, where if I wasn't as good of a person I could be, but I stole another year or two of playing, it's like that doesn't serve me long term in my person. You know what I'm saying? So, I think it's good to look at how many guys late in their career really came on. Shoot, Graham Gano was several places early on. Then he became one of the best kickers in the league. There's a number of stories like that. That kind of were one place. And I think a part of that too is there's variables that a lot of people don't take into consideration with kicking, as far as like atmosphere is one, as far as is it open stadium, is it indoor, how is their operation, how's the long snapper and the holder. There's so many little minor things that go into it that ultimately we've got to eat the blame, and that's part of the gig. Like we're gonna eat it, but at the same time, a lot of people don't see the small, minute things because it's hard to see on TV.
As long as the laces are out, you know what I mean? You don't want to get in any no laces out situations. But how helpful to that point is it to have Charlie and Corey? That it is the battery, it is returning. You guys now have this down.
So helpful. Those guys have been awesome. They're like I just mentioned, they're such a key to my success. If I'm getting bad looks at the ball, can you make kicks? Yes, but it makes your job so much harder when if they're awesome and you're getting good looks and pictures of the ball, it comes easier. And it doesn't mean like stuff happens. You still got to be good enough to do your job.
Sure.
But it just, when you don't have to add an extra variable, it's so nice. And these guys it's so nice. And these guys have been so good for me all year long.
How quickly did you last year say, "Wow, Cleveland, pretty cool football town, pretty neat place"?
He said, "How long did it take me?"
Yeah.
Shoot. Well, honestly, right when I walked in the building, the way in which I was treated and my family was welcomed, I don't think I'd quite got that same reception anywhere else. And not that I've been a part of some great organizations, but the reception was different. There was just like there was a kindness in the way the people interacted with my wife, my son, me, that was a little different when you first walk in the building.
Yeah.
And I know years ago, it's not the case anymore because you look at the talent we have on our team, but I don't know if part of that is coming from with the history that they felt like they had to treat people like better to get them in. I don't know if that's the case, but
I think you might be onto it. Yeah.
I don't care what it was. Yeah. The way in which they treat us as humans, as players, it goes a long way for me, and I think it goes a long way with the other guys too. Yeah. So that was the first step of when did I realize something was a little different about the organization.
Right.
I was literally just talking about somebody today, or talking with one of our players today, and he was saying arguably the same thing. He was like, the way in which they put an emphasis on family here, and not just us together as a team and a family. That is one aspect, but how they let us be humans first and players second.
Yeah.
As long as we're all in, we are all in. But it's really refreshing. Like deaths in the family, you go to other places and it's almost like frowned upon if you even ask to leave. And then you come here and it's like, man, family's first. Like, handle what you need to do, come back and take care of business then. You know, and I think that makes a huge difference.
Baby's born.
Baby's
born. Right.
They're amazing with putting like real life, big life events into perspective. As big and awesome as the NFL is, and that stuff lasts forever.
Yeah.
And I think they've got a great perspective on life here. AB and Kevin and the Haslams, they've just created an environment that I really like being a part of.
That's awesome because for a long time, kind of, and you alluded to it gently, players did not want to be Cleveland Browns. And now you look at all the veterans who came back and wanted to re-sign on the defensive side of the ball, all the guys who wanted to be Cleveland Browns. And I think you just articulated many, many reasons why that is the case. And as a Browns fan, and you know the fans are passionate and rabid and they're great fans, that's got to make them feel good hearing that from players that our organization is being run in a way that is going to do everything it can to have success on the field because they care about the people involved. And as you said at the beginning, it's about the people, right? It's a people place. What did you say? We got to put it on a T-shirt.
Right. It's
the people make the place.
The people make the place.
There we go.
And backtracking to your question just before is, as far as outside the building, walking around, whether people know who I am or not, they're just kind. They're good folks. And then on top of that, how rabid the fans are when you go to a game.
It's incredible.
With it could be the worst weather you could think of, and people, it's packed. And I saw that, and I've been other places where it can be a beautiful day, and we're coming off of a couple wins in a row, and it's not. You know, so it is so awesome to see our fan base so committed.
It's a pilgrimage down there.
Oh, man.
It really is.
Yes.
It's a pilgrimage every Sunday.
It's amazing.
Well, it's so awesome to see you committed to the Cleveland Browns for 3 more
Bravo.
years. Congratulations to you.
Yeah.
And thanks for the time, and always a pleasure when we get a chance to talk to you.
Appreciate y'all.
All right, the great Dustin Hopkins. We'll be back with more Cleveland Browns Daily live from the Greenbrier Browns Training Camp 2024 right after this.